Good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Woods. I'm the State School Superintendent of Georgia. Before beginning, I want to thank Governor Kemp and Dr. Toomey and their respective staff for the collaboration that has taken place since the beginning of the pandemic. I do want to especially thank perhaps two members that have worked behind the scenes and with my staff from the governor's team. This is Ian Caraway and Miranda Williams. They have done a wonderful job in maintaining contact with us so that we could be on the same page throughout this whole endeavor. Obviously, as we look at starting back to school, needless to say, this is probably the most challenging back to school time that we have ever seen. The decisions all of us in our districts are having to make are not easy. There's no obvious playbook that we can follow, no guidelines that we can look at, and probably no historical reference that we can pull from to say this is what we're doing is the best and right thing. But I can assure you, we are doing the best that we possibly can at this time and what is right for our students and our teachers. What I do know, and I think most would agree, is that we want our school or students to be physically back in school. That is the best place for them to learn. There's no doubt when you talk with everyone, this is the ideal situation. But we also know that relationships are better formed in person once they are in school as well. But that being said, the safety of our students and our staff will continue to take precedent in all our decision making. And that is something we will never let our guard down, whether we're in the presence of COVID-19 or any other thing that we face. To that extent, the Department of Education, in collaboration with the Department of Public Health, has released guidance as far as restarting schools for the 2021 school year. We have also released support documents from the Governor's Task Force groups to further support the districts as they plan for reopening. These documents lay out foundational guidance for reopening schools in a face-to-face instruction, a mix of face-to-face and distance instruction, or a solely distance instructional model. This information is available on the Georgia Department of Education's website at gadoe.org, and there you can click on Georgia's path to recovery for K-12 schools for all information. So all the documentation that you have or need, you can find there on that website, and it is constantly updated. We currently have a few districts who are opting to open with a distance model only, but most are planning at this time to begin the year with a mix of face-to-face and distance instruction. We acknowledge the hard planning, decision-making that has taken place within our districts. It is the goal of the Department of Education, in whatever instructional method that is out there, that we are going to support our districts and ensure that they are successful as we move throughout this school year. And in many cases, what we may find is that this may be fluid, but the plan that we have developed and the guidance we have developed is definitely flexible and able to adjust as need is. To support our districts, we have initiated some of the following throughout the past months. We have received waivers from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to meet the nutritional needs of students during the summer, and also as we continue to make adjustments to do so with the school year depending on the instructional model. Dr. Lynette Dobson has done a wonderful job, and I want to thank Secretary Sonny Perdue again for his work and ongoing support of our nutritional program. I think to date we have probably delivered over 30 million meals throughout the state to our families and students at this time. We also received a waiver not to administer high-stakes testing as we closed out the previous school year. In concert with Governor Kemp, and again I appreciate that very much, we have also sent a waiver request to the U.S. Department of Education seeking to eliminate high-stakes testing for the upcoming school year. At this point, we have many things that we need to focus on besides high-stakes testing. We need to make sure that our families are safe and secure, our students and our staff, letting them get back and adjusting and taking something off their plate that we can deal with later in a more appropriate manner is something that I think that is very valuable, and we encourage Washington, D.C. to accept this waiver. We are also introducing a non-high-stakes formative assessment tool called Beacon, and this will be made available to all districts so that they can support learning throughout this school year. We have partnered with the Governor's Office of Student Achievement, and again, I want to thank Joy Hawkins, the Georgia Foundation of Public Education, again, Paige Pushkin for that, and the private sector to provide grants and equipment to school districts to enhance connectivity. We have also allocated $3 million of the CARES Act fund to purchase up to 3,000 Wi-Fi transmitters for Georgia school districts. It is estimated that 135,000 students will receive connectivity through this effort. I want to thank State Board of Education Chairman Scott Sweeney and the members of the State Board of Education as they move to increase Georgia virtual capability to provide online classes for students throughout the state. Again, Gima and Homer has already mentioned the things that they have done, so I appreciate that partnership in securing masks, sanitation stations, and also the temperature thermometers, I guess that would be used to screen people as necessary. As I close, people I think are asking, what does the first day of school look like? I've been involved with education and I've opened up school 22 times in my career. The first day of school will be the first day of school. You can expect hiccups. You can expect challenges. But I guarantee you, your kids will be safe, your teachers will be safe, and we will learn. This is just the first day that's a little bit enhanced because of COVID-19. A lot of things we'll be looking at will be new. Transportation, meals, student drop-off and pick-up, moving from class to class. So I do ask that everyone, please make sure you communicate with your school district. School districts, make sure you are communicating with your parents, making sure what does that first day look like when it comes to enrolling school or students at that time. We have to be prepared and we have to communicate. But I am sure of this, that we will be successful in having a great school year in the state of Georgia. Our districts have done a wonderful job in preparing. We have done a great job as far as putting out guidance and support. We are working as a team throughout this state, and we're going to beat COVID-19.